All right, welcome back. It's News Hub Extra, and thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, you have just tuned in at the right time because we're about to go into sports, and trust me, it's going to be very interesting. We have lots of stories lined up. Well, not lots of stories, but we have very important stories lined up for you this morning. And my guest is somebody very special, and pardon me, but I'll say very dear to me. Yes, she is, and she's here with us on the program. I mean, the first time she was here, unfortunately, I was not on the show. It was IK. The first interaction she had on the show was with IK Kechuku, who unfortunately is not here himself today. But Brenda Shima is here in the studio. Good to have you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right then.
And then, for the first time, I'm actually having to have you host me. I mean, after inviting me several.
Remarkable, isn't it?
And always not been around. But today I'm
remarkable.
Here with you. Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of history, but we'll go into all of that. Okay, then. So let's start with the major story for today. What did I even plan? Let me see. So much to talk about, yes. And we're going to be talking about no other thing. I don't know. I'm struggling with so much now. But then, let's just look at the under-20 national team. The Flying Eagles, who are far away, Argentina. And, you know, the day they were actually playing locked in that match with Argentina, I thought to myself that I had a feeling. Honestly, I didn't give them a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't give them a chance.
I feel disappointed myself
that I
didn't, but...
You saw the game with Brazil. I
watched the game with Brazil, and I feel like they let loose because at the point they were already satisfied with what they had gotten. And you know, so getting back into the game was a little bit too late over a Brazilian side, which we know that their kind of football, it's what you give is what you get. So you give in less work, you get in failures. Basically, they take advantage over you, and then they get in goals. So I felt for them because they underestimated the fact that there's no way they're going to play that game and lose. You know, I think in their heads it was more like a worst case scenario. Let's give it a draw, and then it didn't happen that way.
Because if you look at the nature of goals, the manner in which they
consider very uncalled for, excusable. You know, in fact, those goals were not professional from a Brazilian side. They're not planned.
Classic,
yes, and that's the word. They're not planned. So it will tell you that the Nigerian side went into that game thinking, whatever happens, there's no way Brazil is going to get all 3 points from here. You know, we're just going to play forward. But I think even at that, they still didn't deliver with the mindset they had. Because if you ask me, that would have been more or less a defensive game than, attacking forward, giving space to the back line for Brazil to, approach. So you know that you're going into this game to get a draw. So you should play more of an attacking game. But I didn't see that. Instead, what they played in the attacking game was the game against Argentina. But you're about to get into that.
Yeah, but the Argentina game, let me look at this. The Argentina game, I saw the game, and even from the commentary, it seemed more like Ladan Boso adopted a sit-back approach.
That's defensive. Sorry, that's the word I wanted to use. Defensive game.
Hit the Argentines on the counter. But, you know, when you look at the sort of chances the Argentine team squandered, one would have thought, if perhaps, but this is football actually, but if perhaps they scored those goals, then we probably would have been looking at a different score line. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, if the let's give it to them. The Argentines, they did play. They did play. If you look at the stats, the ball possession, the attacks on target, the press was a lot. And then, like you said, Ladan Boso, in that point, he knew that what he could do here is get into the, maybe high as the penalty, extra time and penalty. But luckily for him, he was able to play a relaxed game. That's a defensive game. Moving forward a little by little, trying to make chances where he can and possibly creating an opportunity with the players. They did that part, so I saw it. And I was like, okay, this is not too bad for playing against a powerhouse as an Argentina. But I think they are one of the favorites to win this year's tournament. And so far, their history against Nigeria is not really favorable when it comes to the Nigerian side. So you expected them to even get more, at least a goal. So and then you will not say those goals that Nigerians scored were not, classic, like that against Brazil and Nigeria, which the Brazilians took against the Nigerian side. They actually planned to score the goal. They took the chances when they could. Shot on target was not as much as that of the Argentine. They would have gotten more goals because at the time they attacked, they always made chances. But they played more of a defensive game. I think it played out for him, but it might not always work. It might not always work because now it was more like, okay, what we didn't do against Brazil, let's do it here and see how it works. Because this is those are both South American countries. So I think that's just the game plan for him, and he played out for him. I was shocked. I definitely gave Nigeria. I thought that was our last game in the tournament.
I felt the same.
Thought that was the last game in the
I think
tournament.
to a large extent that must have been the feeling of many Nigerians, because I recall the day I was seeing the game against Brazil. I knew the comments I heard around, and some people were not necessarily interested, you know, to watch that match all through and all of that. But then kudos to the guys for going past Argentina.
And I must say that I told my colleagues and the office the other day, I said this win is definitely players' win. This is the players' win. They actually knew what they were getting into. Kudos to Ladan Boso. He put the boys together. He put the squad together. However, the team, what we saw on the pitch, there was strictly individual effort from the players. Because they had, if it was coaching, I mean, at some point, they would have not even considered a goal. They would have gotten into extra time goalless. But I think the players understood that if Argentina can get a goal, let's try make chances and get at least one goal. And then play more of defense. You know, so I think I really give it to the players. As much as I want to applaud Ladan Boso for that particular fixture against Argentina, it was strictly individual players' effort, and give it to the likes of the backline, especially Anna Boso. That's the goalkeeper.
You know, I was good. I don't know if you can mind read that, but I was actually going to go into that because you interact with a lot of these players, you know, or the local scene, and you kind of know them. Yes. And looking at that team, in fact, you were in Egypt.
Yeah,
you
with
know,
them, with that team. I mean, I was so impressed.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the experience in Egypt helped the team?
Well, that's a whole different scenario. But again, I would say they were rather disappointed they didn't get the trophy.
Okay, but Senegal got the trophy.
Just
but
Senegal did, yeah, they're out of the World Cup now. So like if you go by the teams that were present in Egypt for the AFCON, Nigeria was one of the they are the most successful when it comes to the African continent. You know, having won that particular trophy like 7 times. Okay. You know, so they were disappointed that they didn't win, you know, the trophy. However, I think it pushed them to go further in the World Cup. Yes, so I would agree with you. It was some sort of motivation, but it was not really the reason why they had gone further into the beating Argentina, moving to the quarterfinals. It was more or less a set pace for them to, you know, let's do this for ourselves. Then, of course, the nation is the focus. Let's get the trophy back home. But if we must make our wrongs right, then we have to go past the group stage and even into the finals, maybe for ourselves individually, because now Nigerians don't believe us anymore. So if we're going to get back on track, this is what we need to do. That's what I feel those players, they had in their minds. And then talk of likes of, you know, Abel Oguche, he's always impressive. That's the defender. And then also Anna Bozio, that's the goalkeeper. He actually told me that this game, he's going to make sure that he gets at least to the finals. That we should believe that. Say, I trust you. Just don't concede those kind of goals you conceded against Brazil again. And I saw that he was on his toes this time. So sometimes we need motivation, we need encouragement like this. So I think Egypt was more like a set pacer getting into this FIFA World Cup. It was like we lost out, we disappointed Nigerians, but we're getting into this FIFA World Cup. We're going to make sure we do all our best. It wasn't looking like that against Brazil, but then against Argentina, it's more like the hope got back into balance. So I'll keep our fingers crossed to see what happens.
So we have our next opponent, South Korea. South Korea
defeated Ecuador.
And if there's anything we know about South Korean teams, basically is their pace. They are not the kind of team, they play high pressing football by their very nature. Exactly. So when you look at how we play sitting back, particularly, I don't know what sort of tactic Ladan Boso would want to adopt against a South Korean team. But then looking at what he has played so far, what do you expect? What do you think? What would you say Ladan Boso is thinking right now?
Simple. You're into the quarterfinals. This is the do or die affair at this point. You're in or you're out. There's no second chance in this stage right now. So for me, I think he should just play an attacking defensive game. I don't know if that makes sense, but I will explain. I think if he, like you said, the pace is on the side of the South Koreans. But we also play the likes of Brazil and Argentina. So if there's something to take home from there, there was also space in those games. We're talking about South Americans. They play like the Italians. You know, they play fast, tiki-taka football. So Nigerians also have the good advantage we have in Nigeria in the squad is we play street football. Most of those boys grew up on the streets, a good number of them, I must say. So they understand the level of, speed, dribbles and all, and that is what the South Koreans are going to bring forward. So you understand this thing. So I'm expecting to start the likes of Sunday, and then there's another guy on the right wing. I can't remember his name right now, but he's a very good run when it comes to the left wing. So if you put someone like that in forward who could pick the balls that have been sent in from the midfield, I think we'll get a good one against South Korea, because this is a team we cannot underestimate. But if again we can beat the likes of Brazil, Argentina, getting into the quarterfinals, and we also had Brazil like somewhat tamed, just that it was unfortunate for us that we lost that one against Brazil.
But isn't it interesting, Brenda, that from this tournament so far, we have 3 teams from our group at this stage. Italy still in contention. We have Nigeria and Brazil as well. So I'm looking that there's a tendency that the winner might come from
that
either
group
one
D.
of those
That's
three.
the group. That's the group of death.
Yeah.
They actually said it initially. That was the group of death, and then we didn't see ourselves. Like I would say, I will not mix my words. I didn't see Nigeria getting past that group. If I was going to predict initially, I was going to, if there was going to end like third loser Nigeria, which happened, which did happen, so either Nigeria was going to get a slot. But again, I will not be shocked if a winner comes out of that group. Now Argentina is out. So who else? We're thinking about Italy. We're thinking about 5-time champions Brazil. So I mean, Nigeria is also in the contention now, because looking at what they've performed against the host Argentina, which many people didn't see coming. I think right now it won't be shocking if we actually get to the level of getting almost runners-up. But again, I would prefer us to get more than just the runners-up, because last time we did that, we played against Argentina. Just twice we've gotten to that stage of the competition. So I think it's about time.
All right.
We get
Finally, before we move on, what is your scoreline? Can you predict?
Yes, I don't like this. Like I told my colleague, I said, I don't know. When we were playing against Argentina, I said, I don't know. It's a very long answer. But I think right now I'll stand behind my team, Nigeria. Like I expect them to get at least a win for that. Let them not get into extra time. A win is what I expect them to do. But if they do get into extra time, then I'll put my trust on Anabozio to deliver and save a lot of penalties to get us to the next stage.
All right then. So fair enough. Well, I just hope that the Super Flying Eagles rather we go out there and make Nigeria proud against the South Korean team as well. Now, a couple of years ago, it would have been easy for us to just sit back and say, well, these are, South Koreans and it's not going to be a problem. They're not a footballing nation as much as us. But then you remember that World Cup. You remember that goal. Yakubu Ayigweni, oh my goodness, nobody saw that coming. But then it's all in the past. So we're going to be moving on right now. Now, Nigerians have had mixed fortunes in Europe this season. And if you talk about mixed fortunes today, I would like to stress my emphasis more on those who had successful spells at their clubs. Terra Murphy is one of them. And one of the biggest ones so far is Victor Osimhen. No one had thought that Victor Osimhen would end up. Yes, we've always known that he had the potential, but no one had thought that Victor Osimhen will rise above the likes of Lautaro Martinez and a couple of others in the Italian Serie A to clinch the Golden Boot. Well, they have just one more game to go. One more game to go.
He can't score 10 goals inside.
Well, he can't score 10 goals.
Lautaro Martinez can score like 5 goals in one game.
But he was breathing down the neck of, Victor Osimhen. But that is not really my talking point. My talking point right now has to do with the fact that Victor Osimhen, a lot of people, in fact, I was on Twitter all through yesterday, and I think the day before yesterday, looking at the story, and Nigerians feel bitter that Victor Osimhen was not awarded the most valuable player of the Italian Serie A. And you had to look back at the 2022-2023 season. Am I correct now?
2021-2022
season. Was this Theo, this gentleman that plays for AC Milan, the Portuguese, I've forgotten, Theo Leao, something, I've forgotten his name though. He had 11 goals. He had 11 goals and, a couple of assists, and he emerged the most valuable player in the Italian Serie A. Is there a problem with the Italians giving this award to a Nigerian? Because you have to look at the fact that even with Napoli, looking at the immense contribution of Victor Osimhen, Calasveria, that name is
Karaschila.
Velia, you know,
We
yeah.
don't understand who we're talking about.
Exactly. So this young man comes up and he seems to be clinching all of the important titles in Italy. What's your take on that?
Well, like I'll go by what I saw on social media myself. I mean, people calling out as a racist, you know, a racist award or a racist act. Some fishiness going on right there. But yeah. I would like to take a stand also. I believe that I don't know the basis to which he emerged best player of the season, which I am still trying to figure out. Because if you go by the stats, I mean, 33 appearances, 25 goals, 33 appearances, 12 goals, 14 goals, if I'm not mistaken. That's for the best player who won the best player of the season. Yeah. And then Osimhen, 33 appearances, 25 goals, 49 goals in all competitions. This guy is not even a match, Osimhen. Yes, Osimhen started coming from the Lille when he left Lille to join Napoli in 2019. Even at Lille there, he had you know, a lot of we saw that his form started picking from Lille. Getting into Napoli, we saw that form in limelight. I mean, right now, it's just unfair. Or should I say some sort of consolation? But if they were even going to get some sort of consolation given to anybody, I don't think it should be Kivachi. I'll let her.
Kivachia. Yeah, let's keep it that way. Yes. It's quite a mouthful, that name.
So, but I still can't understand.
I remember now Rafael Leao, the
AC Milan player.
Yeah, Rafael Leao.
I don't really understand the build up to how he got winner over Osimhen. I'm still trying to figure out. Maybe there's some sort of explanation that will come up later on to tell us this is why he was chosen.
But the particular image that really upset me.
Immediately they won the title.
Look at both of them. Amazing players, both to play together. But immediately they won the title. You could see, but you could see that there were pictures that were put out of him on his throne with the Maradona. Yeah, Maradona putting the crown on him. Oh, come on.
Even Maradona was shaking his grave. I'm like, I mean, this is not who I'm supposed to. This is not who's supposed to go out for me. See who is deserving here. I mean, Maradona. The likes of Osimhen has been what Osimhen has done for Napoli in over 33 years right now, being a major contributor to the winning of their title. You know, it is likened to what Maradona did for them some years past. So I don't know how come he emerged. That's Call his name for me, please.
Calasvelia.
I'm not getting it accurate. Karashila. I know it has to do with a Sheila and a Kavachi and a Karashila. I don't know how he emerged winner of player of the season. But I mean, I think they couldn't take the fact that Osimhen got the most goals for the season, which he actually deserved, and also the best striker of the season. Kudos to him. But I think
those
the Italian, yes. Being the best, it's like an award over an award. It's obvious the stats couldn't have hidden. You know, we saw it all over. So they couldn't have manipulated that one. But not being the best player of the Serie A this season is still shocking to me. I don't have words for it, but I don't want to call what it is. I don't want to follow the likes of what social media is calling it. I'll just say, I mean, it's just not his season. Let me put it that way for the Italian Serie A. And I think it just goes further to show him that he needs to leave Napoli or he needs to leave Italian football.
I was going to go to that.
Yeah, that's where it goes to. Because if you look at it now, his position as the African Footballer of the Year is now threatened. You know, not being the best player of the season, he won the trophy with after 33 years. You cannot even now guarantee him being the best player because we have the likes of, on African soil, we have the likes of this guy in Manchester City now. What's his name? The Algerian guy.
Yeah.
How did I?
Riyad
Mahrez.
Yeah.
You know, have the Riyad Mahrez who won the league with the English Premier League, and also have even Sadio Mane.
For a treble.
And also Sadio Mane has won with Bayern Munich. But yeah, Bundesliga.
Yeah, but Mane has not
been outstanding. My point is, these are top leagues in the world.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to African Footballer of the Year, these are some of the
things they look at.
Facts that comes into play. What league are you playing in? Where does the league stand when it comes to world ratings? You know, so we're having Riyad Mahrez also being in good form. This season, you will not take that. Although he didn't chalk as much goals as Osimhen did for Napoli, but he was in good form and he actually won the league and is heading for a treble. So you automatically be thinking of him as the best footballer of the year. So if Osimhen had gotten that, you know, best player of the year, that's like, you know, a piled up, you know, should I say CV now, getting into African Footballer of the Year. So right now, we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. But if he didn't get to win the best footballer of the year this year for Africa, then I think I'll have to blame Italian football for that mess up.
All right, so while I actually didn't see this from this angle, but now that you've mentioned it, I just hope that isn't the case at the end of the day.
Yes, because
But
that's
then,
if you look at it, the English Premier League is top on the ranking, world ranking when it comes to club football or leagues in the world. Then you talk about maybe the Spanish La Liga also before you bring in the Italian Serie A, and you're looking at the Bundesliga. There are also leagues and these are leagues that are also, and then the French Ligue 1.
Yeah.
You know, so you're looking at fact Africans playing in different parts of this league. We also have Hakimi of PSG who won the league also. So that's an African, and then he was in the World Cup. Exactly.
Oh.
So you see the facts I'm saying. So
Okay.
I was really angry, but like I said, I will not use the words I would have used when I saw that Osimhen didn't win the best player in the Serie A, because I was personally building his profile. I've predicted him for the African Footballer of the Year, well deserving. And if he gets into the AFCON, which he will be coming in for, and gets to win the AFCON, I think that might add to his CV. But right now, he's threatening, looking at what other African players are also doing on their leagues, and they are top flight.
All right.
When it comes to league football.
Well, we're not going to dwell on that much, but it's unfortunate, though. We would have actually hoped that, and then don't forget this goalkeeper as well, Bono. Don't forget Bono. You cannot leave him out of the conversation. He has done well. Well, in the local league, they probably didn't do too well, but then they've went all the way to clinch the title, the Europa Cup title, you know, denying Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, I mean, making
it's
history.
Not even about, it wasn't even about AS Roma. It was about Mourinho. But then, well, there are victors and good one for them there. But then let's move on now, and we're going to come back home once again and talk about local sports. Before we go into this, we're going to spend just a few minutes to talk about this, because we have some other thing to touch on before we call it a wrap on sports here. Today in Lagos, the Onikon Stadium will be coming alive. And then you know that this season actually had been an abridged version of the league. And for us to crown a champion for the league, there's going to be a Super Six. Yes, Remo Stars, Lobby Stars. We also have Rivers United.
Bender Insurance, unbeaten Bender Insurance.
Yes,
you need to emphasize that.
Yes, unbeaten Bender Insurance. Yeah, we'll be slugging it out in Lagos.
And the People's Elephant also.
The People's Elephant, that's the Imba.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's your take on this very quickly? I think this is a bit of excitement.
Yes, it's going to be, you can see the smile on my face.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get to make it to Lagos before, you know, it gets very deep. I plan to make it to Lagos, but with the strike coming up, I heard you saying it, which I've seen already. I don't know how possible that's going to be, but I plan to be there to see for myself physically how this would play out, because it is going to be an interesting one. I have the best of my teams there. I like to say I have the best of my teams, because I have the likes of Lobby Stars, which is supposed to be my bet, right? But somehow I'm not truly a fan. But again, because I'm from Benue State, I'm expected to, you know, take a liking to Lobby Stars, and I'll be vouching for Lobby Stars. But then I'll be going for Enyimba, who have actually lost out to their, you know, their grace. Should I say they've lost the grace of being the dominant club in the season in the last couple of years. They've actually missed out on continental football, and they've also missed out of the title race, you know. And then the Remo Stars, let's not forget the Remo Stars. This is one team that I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. So I don't know who will win. I don't know what will happen. I don't know how it's going to play out, but these are the teams that I expect to go further. As for Bender Insurance, they are coming in new. They've done their own part. They've gotten into the Super Six. They've proven a point. We understand that they're there. So if they don't make it to the final, or they don't make it to the trophy, I mean, I'll still give it up for them, being just newly promoted into the top flight football in Nigeria and getting to this point of the competition with the
Brenda,
big dogs.
Let me quickly ask you this. Do you feel that we didn't have a regular season?
Yeah.
But do you think that the Super Six will actually produce the best team for CAF Champions League?
If you ask me, as I'm concerned right now, the teams that have made it to the Super Six are the best when it comes to the league. Forget the likes of Akwa United are not there. The likes of Enugu Rangers, who have never relegated out of the MPFL, are not there. And then who else again? Who will you think of? Abia Warriors, then. I think those are the remaining three that didn't make it to the Super Six. So when you talk about MPFL, the teams that have actually qualified, aside from Bender Insurance, which somehow just defeated the likes of Akwa United, you know, and Enugu Rangers, and getting that slot into the Super Six. These are the teams. You talk of Remo Stars, Enyimba, Lobby Stars of Makudi. You talk of Rivers United, defending champions Rivers United. And you're talking of Bender Insurance. Okay, Bender Insurance just came on board. And then the last was Sunshine Stars of Akure. Yeah, so these are teams that are actually top flight in Nigerian football. So I see that they will produce the best that will represent Nigeria.
So what are going to be your standout players? What players should we be looking out for?
For Remo Remo Stars, I would actually pick, because I've had personal conversations with him, and I've seen him play for the AFCON, and also the winning goal against, I think it was the Sunshine Stars or so. He was one of the contributors to that goal that got them that comfortable slot back into top flight. Shooting Stars, not Sunshine Stars. Back into top flight. That's talking about Olamilekan Adams, and he'll also be playing today. So I'll be looking out for him against, the likes of Enyimba. They're playing against Enyimba at 2 p.m. this afternoon. So for Enyimba, I am expecting them to win or somehow get to the final or just get a continental slot. I would love to see Enyimba in the continental position because, mind you, they are the most successful when it comes to Nigerian football on the continental front, and we would like to go further than just, get into the playoffs, get into Confederation quarterfinals and not making it. Enyimba has won the Confederation, the continental football for like a record of 2-3 times. If I'm not mistaken, let me get my answers right. But they've won it. That's the point I'm trying to create. No Nigerian team has gotten that far. So Enyimba should get.
Yeah, Enyimba won it twice.
Twice. Yeah, they should get. They should get to the continental level, so we can see a Nigerian team perhaps go with the likes of El Ali, who have seemed to be there like their bet right now. Esperance of Tunisia, who seem as though the continental championship is their bet right. So Enyimba can also go to that tour to compete with them. But the Remo Stars, let's not take it away from them. They've regionalized, they've come together, they've gotten power, they've gotten new players, and if they get a continental ticket, they'll also go far. So those teams are the teams I'm looking at for. So Brenda Insurance, like I said, if they don't make it past this stage, they've done their bid, making that massive statement to get to this level from the NNL to this level. It's already a win for me.
All right, amazing stuff there. But for me, I'm going to say it outrightly. I'm pitching my tent with Lobby Stars.
Lobby Stars. But yes, let's not take it away from Lobby Stars. They've been impressive this season. Just that somehow Rivers United had a way of coming back. We are champions. Let's get back to the top of the table. And they ended that particular table being second on the log. They were holding that position just like the Arsenal. Well. They started holding that position for a long time.
Just like Arsenal.
Man City. And then I had a conversation, sorry, before I put it, with Ebube, where he asked him, is this going to be a Man City situation in Nigerian Professional Football League? Because they went to the continental level, they came back. Arsenal was holding, Arsenal was holding the top table, and then they came back and stood on top of the table and won the title. That's talking about Man City and Arsenal. So right here we have Rivers United, second on the log, third on the log for a very good number of time, coming back to play 2 games to climb the table, and now they're going into the Super 6. So if they win it, it's just like...
Brenda, I have to stop you there. Brenda knows too much about the NPFL. I need to stop her there. But quickly, before we wrap up this segment, I actually thought of talking about, sports development in Nigeria, but I think it's we're going to leave that for some other time. Looking at the administration and hoping that the right people are selected to put in, to look into our sports administrators to oversee the activities of sporting in Nigeria. Because when you sit down and look at the enormous possibilities in sports and the talents we have, we shouldn't be struggling. Exactly, we shouldn't be struggling as far as sport is concerned. On that note, we also want to use this avenue to pay tribute to a man who had given so much to sports himself. Most people do not know him for that part, but thank God Brenda is here. Brenda has interacted with him. I'm talking about no other person but High Chief Raymond Dokpesi, who passed on earlier this week. And you know him personally on a personal note. What can you say about his contribution particularly to sports in Nigeria?
When my boss was contributing to sport, I was still a baby. But again, growing to come and work for him, growing up getting to work for him, I realized, I think that's where my love for local leagues and Nigerian football started from, because it was always in front of me. I was always, having to watch AIT, NTA, the likes, and then that was what I was seeing. Nigerian football, local football, when Nigeria were playing, I always had the opportunity to see it, thanks to the likes of that late Da. I couldn't even bring myself to calling him late Da now, right? But that's the reality we're in. Late Da Communications founder, that's them talking about High Chief Raymond Dokpesi earlier. I mean, he has contributed massively. He helped some of us develop love for this game. And he forever be great, we'll ever feel grateful to him or forever be missed. I really hope that people will queue into what he has left behind and make a big deal out of this, because this is one thing I know that was very dear to this man. Going to talk about Nigerian or African culture in general. That is why he brought about the African independent television, sharing an African experience.
All right.
I remember growing up and singing that song like a hymn every now and then. So, but again, I really thank God for the life he has lived. He has actually helped some of us, giving us a platform, giving us a reason to, you know, make impact, and we'll forever be grateful. So God rest his soul. We'll keep mourning him, and I'll miss my dear founder so much. A very lively and jovial man.
All right. All right. Then on here at Silverbird as well, we say we send our condolences out to Dark Communications, and I know lots of goodwill messages have been coming in, but may God rest his soul as well. On that note, we'll have to draw the curtains on Sports Update today. Thank you so much, Brenda, for coming through.
Thank you for
and I really
inviting me.
hope you do get a chance to go to Lagos and see those games. You know,
so that you can call my life out.
exactly, exactly, and give us all the gist and all the lowdown. Thank you
hope
so
I
much
did
for being a
too.
part of the show
Thank
this
you.
morning.